I think we all can't wait to hear the experience coming from all wider across Europe, all regions. It'll be very interesting throughout the day to hear what they are doing in their cultural contexts. Now, to talk us through the British Council's Future Creative Economy program, I'd like to invite Rehana Mughal to the stage. She is the Global Creative Economy Director at the British Council.
Thank you very much, Elif. At the British Council, we're in the business of cultural relations. And as the world's leading cultural relations organisation, we have a critical part to play in the pressing debates of the day. We strive to create space, particularly for those with underrepresented views, to share their experiences, barriers, challenges, and opportunities. We work hard to encourage knowledge sharing and dialogue between people who may be working in different environments or difficult contexts. And we can only develop programs of relevance to people across all cultures through direct interaction, reflection, and robust research. As director of the Global Creative Economy Programme at the British Council, I lead our team in London and across our global network in 30 countries to deliver our work. The British Council is uniquely placed to draw on international perspectives and trends that are emerging in very different contexts, whether that's in Iraq, here in Turkey, Mexico, China, or Nigeria. We work with partners, and the PEC and International Council, who are all here today, play a key role in helping to stretch our ideas and to test our assumptions. And I'm delighted that you will have the opportunity to meet with the PEC Council and the members here today. The work we do around the world in creative economy starts with deep listening and research. Our research offers the evidence people need to grow their creative economies, and we are seeing more countries around the world who recognize the social, economic, and political significance of the creative economy. An increasing number of countries around the world now have a ministry or agency with overall responsibility for the creative economy. And we are seeing an increase in the number of countries who want to develop their creative economies and their strategies and their policies to encourage the growth of a thriving creative economy that is inclusive, conscious of climate responsibilities, and is purpose-driven. I believe every person should have access to a diversity of creative stimulus, and our work in the creative economy aims to support networks and collaboration for long-term impact and greater international understanding. By working with policymakers, we support their work at a strategic level to ensure conditions for the creative individuals and organisations can grow. And for today's international conference at the meeting point of Europe and Asia, it plays a very important part in shaping our ideas and our direction. And I thank you all for being part of the conversation and helping to take this work forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Rehana, for these words. Now, dear audience, this forum is based on the work by the Creative Industries Policy and Evidence Center International Council, which resulted in the publication recommending 11 key actions titled A Global Agenda for the Cultural and Creative Industries. Now, to tell us about these 11 actions and to talk us through this agenda, I'd like to invite the chair of this council, the PEC, John Newbigin, to the stage. Sir, the floor is yours.
Elif, thank you, and good morning, everybody. I chair the PEC International Council, and that's a group of 15 or 16 people drawn from all over the world. And our job is really to discuss and reflect on some of the big global issues of our time and how they impact on the creative sector And what's the contribution of the creative sector in resolving some of those issues? And of course, in our discussions over the last year or two, because of the COVID pandemic, we've been thinking, what should we be doing? What are the kind of proposals that policies around the world, both national and international, should be adopting to reset the global economy? And as Elif has just said, we drew up an agenda of 11 points. 11 points that cover issues such as education and skills, the needs of people working in the informal economy in a very, very atomized and fragmented sector, the needs for city, regional, and cluster policies, the needs for inclusion and diversity in the kind of economy that we build, the need for data protection, the need for international standards, and so on. And as we developed these 11 points, we found that they matched very closely onto the Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And each one of these 11 points mapped on to at least 3, and sometimes 4 or 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals. Because, of course, the point about the creative economy, the value of the creative economy, is not just that it's growing and one of the fastest growing sectors in the world, but it's a way of growing an economy that is sustainable environmentally and is also sustainable socially, because it's inclusive, it's diverse, it celebrates our cultural distinctiveness, it draws in people who otherwise might not have access to profitable and fulfilling work of one kind and another. And as we thought about those 11 points, and we were planning to have a meeting of the Council here in Istanbul, and we've been doing that for the last 2 days, we talked with the British Council, who sponsors the work of the International Council, to say, let's have a policy forum to draw out from these 11 points. So the discussion today is not structured around our agenda of the 11 points, but if you want to read those, they're available on the PEC website, or they will be very shortly. They're in English, they're about to be put up on the PEC website in Turkish. But what we have done is structure the discussions of this morning to try and reflect those 11 themes. So all the members of the Council who are here, unfortunately not every member's been able to attend our meeting, but during the course of this morning you'll be hearing from all the members of the International Council on the themes that we drew up in that 11-point agenda. And then this afternoon we'll be reflecting on some case studies from this wider Europe region that have carried through some of those policy ideas and some of those policy values into action. So what's going to happen next is members of the Council coming and presenting, not on the structure of the 11-point agenda, but in themes that are built around that. But as I say, if you are interested in reading the 11-point agenda, it will be available on the PEC site very soon. And again, our purpose is to think about how we reset the global economy post-COVID pandemic, not just to get back to the old normal, but to create a new normal, which is an economy which is more sustainable, more just, and which has growth that benefits whole populations, the kind of issues that we need to address if we're going to have a planet that is environmentally sustainable and is also a planet where more people are able to enjoy a just and equitable living than they have been in the past. So we're going to move into the sessions now, and you'll be hearing from my fellow members, and I look forward to talking with you during the questions and discussions that we have later in the day. Thank you.